Jake, I think I learned something from this movie. I think if I learned magic tricks, I now know how to pick up French girls.
That was my joke. You're trying to pass that off as your own.
Are you recording?
Yes, I'm recording right now.
Well, you didn't fucking tell.
Yeah, he tried to pass that joke off as his own to the public, and when it was clearly mine at the movie theater.
Anyways, welcome to the podcast. I'm Ryan.
I'm Alex.
Jake Davis.
And we just saw the movie Now You See Me.
I wish I didn't.
It was fine.
Yeah, the real magic trick here is that
okay, you came
we
in
don't
like
have our
15
$8.
minutes late.
I came in like 10 minutes late, and that movie was so fucking predictable. God, whatever.
He only missed the first two, like,
The
magic
trick
tricks.
that got you hooked to the whole thing. You don't even know how it starts.
The semi-naked chick got me hooked.
You know, Jake, how about you tell us the plot of this movie?
The magicians are trying to get into this secret magician society.
Oh, that's a spoiler.
It's not. I didn't name it. That's why it's not a spoiler. So they have no idea what I'm
Yeah, but
talking
you don't know about the society until like 3/4 of the way into the movie.
Except that
So
they all
what you
got,
do-
except all four of them got a card that shows
Oh, now you're
a symbol.
spoiling it.
A card
Except that's 5 minutes
that-
into the movie.
For anybody listening, a card that makes Jesse Eisenberg stop banging a chick. Okay, let me paint the scenario for you. Not to be a chauvinistic pig, but hot slutty chick just like jumps his bones and is like halfway naked and just like literally she's moaning at one point. And Jesse Eisenberg, out of the corner of his eye, sees like a weird card next to his keys, and he's like, I don't remember that being there. Literally throws her off and is like, you need to leave.
Immediately, Boner went to Marshmallow.
Like, he was like he was pushing rope by that point. He's trying to put a marshmallow into a keyhole, and that was the first of many of my problems with that movie.
I feel like it was well casted. You think so? Like, they had good people. Like, they had the old man, they had the woman, they had that young kid, they had the control freak, kind of had some tension with the woman, the guy that was the police officer, that super nerdy police officer that came and took over, the French girl that
needs to leave the building.
that works for Interpol. I feel like they had, not necessarily the actors that they picked were the greatest, but the types of people they had were
I
good.
think what you saw was these people were casted, and so people that have seen these other people in movies, they immediately have a character made up in their head.
No,
And
I've
that's what they
never
relied
seen
on.
the black dude's
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the only one I know. So I don't have
Okay.
any.
Jesse Eisenberg
I don't
and Woody
have-
Harrelson still had that Zombieland vibe going on, because Woody Harrelson was just
Pretty
always
much.
like in control,
Well-
and Jesse Eisenberg's like, I think we need to do this.
Well, I think Jesse Eisenberg was more doing his Mark Zuckerberg impression again, because everything was talking really fast like this, and like taking apart what you're saying and trying to do innuendo as well as trying
Yeah,
to be
he's
the
not a
smartest
very-
person in the room.
He's not a very diverse.
No,
actor.
and he has to keep talking really fast like this. It's
I
just
did,
really, damn
especially
annoying.
during the interrogation scene. It was very, very Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg.
I feel like they opened it up for a "now you see me, now you don't" kind of thing, like number 2.
You telling me there's going to be a sequel to this movie?
The end they left it hanging. I feel like they left at least not necessarily an exact. For some reason, I think people will think when they think a sequel, it's like the same movie a second time or something. I feel like they could continue the story as into what happens after the end.
You know what I think Now You Don't will be? You walk into the theater, and they don't play a movie.
Nah.
You just sit there for an hour and a half.
Then the real actors
In the
come
dark.
in, and you're like, they're just fooling you the whole time.
You know, the one thing about this movie is I wanted it to be good, like, throughout it. Like, it felt like, this might be decent. Like, this might be Zombieland, but instead of zombies, we're doing magic tricks. Like, that's what the movie felt like to me. Like, it wanted to be good. Okay, there's a twist at the end, because, it's a magic film, so big surprise, the entire movie is like a magic trick, like The Prestige. Except The Prestige is good, and this movie is shit. There's a big twist at the end, and the person who perpetrates the twist, his whole motivation for doing the twist doesn't make any fucking sense. The reason why he did the twist...
It was to get the girl, just like every movie ever. You ever seen movies? Why are you
No,
on this
no, it
podcast?
wasn't to get-
You ever watched movies before?
It wasn't to get the fucking girl, he wanted revenge.
He wanted the
He wanted
girl.
revenge,
okay.
and he was recruiting for his stupid little magic group.
Okay, let's just bring up a whole synopsis here. So, Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, Isla Fisher, and...
Mark Ruffalo.
No.
The Hulk.
No, who's the fourth guy? The fourth magician?
Oh, that's,
The kid?
That's James Franco's little brother. We'll call
Dave
him
Dave Franco.
Little Frankie.
There are
Little Frankie.
there are these 4 magicians that, like, you saw them in the beginning, like, an introduction of what they do for magic tricks.
That young
And then
kid,
they find a card.
he's
They
almost-
find a card.
He's almost not a magician.
And
more
this card
pickpocket.
leads them
Yeah, he was a
into an
pickpocket.
apartment complex where it's like an empty room, except like there's this water trick that they just saw.
It was like
whoa, oh my god!
it was like the beginning of Saw. Like they got trapped. In there.
Yeah, I was really hoping.
It was really unsettling.
So you want to play a game?
You want to play a match? You want to do a match?
I fucking hate magicians, and just like kills them all. I was really hoping it was gonna be a serial killer that hates magicians.
Did you notice they went back to that same apartment later and they're in New York?
Well, yeah, I mean that turned into
that
their
was their base of operation.
So
yes.
later, like it pushes later where you see them do a magic show in Vegas because clearly now they're big.
It
and-
says 1 year later.
Yeah, I know. Michael Caine is is Arthur Tressler, and he's supposed to be like he's essentially funding their magic tricks.
Yeah, he's in it. What was he? An insurance guy?
He's an insurance guy, so he has a lot of money.
so
he's their. They
he's
kept
their
calling him
benefactor.
their
Pirates, I
benefactor.
was going to protect you, and I'll have it. Sorry, Michael Caine impression over.
So they have this huge trick where they have this guy essentially, in quotes, rob a bank, and it's like the craziest thing ever. So now they became really, really famous.
Well,
do this.
it's not just the
Clearly
craziness
says-
of it; it's the fact they they gave the money away too. It wasn't just
Yeah.
the fact that it was so
Yeah,
crazy.
and it's funny. Everyone's just like jumping in the air like it's snowing. You know there'd be a fucking riot.
there'd be a
People would
fight.
be killing.
People would die.
It's
Guns
for
would've came out-
Euros. Let's be honest. Jim.
Yeah, don't you think the
Yeah,
exchange?
you realize euros are worth more than dollars.
You know, whoever was
Yeah, no, I was kidding.
like an exchanger in Vegas was like fist pumping because he's like, dude, I'm getting tons of cash. 3.5 million euros.
Let's raise the rates up. Yeah,
He's at least making 250,000 euros.
I should also mention that there's a
gigantic.
gigantic Robin Hood complex with this movie. The magicians, they're not keeping any of this money. They're giving it all to people.
Correct. Who have been wronged?
Yeah, like
in
especially
different scenarios.
in New Orleans. There's a big.
Yeah,
They're
there's a
like,
big thing for that.
we're gonna give you all money because
I like that. That was
They
good. That was good.
brought up the Hurricane Katrina thing, and
Yeah,
it was,
I like
which was
that.
just
That was kind of
it was
tragic.
kind of sappy and dumb.
Yeah.
Honestly, like it felt really sappy. Like
I liked that. That was good.
And on the other side, you have Mark Ruffalo playing an FBI agent, and what's her name?
the French chick from
Melanie
Inglourious
Laurent.
Basterds.
Yeah, Melanie Laurent. That's probably
La
not
Croix.
whatever.
Ah.
She plays Alma Vargas, and she's from Interpol.
Bless you.
And they're investigating these magicians stealing stuff. And the whole time, I really felt like this was just a giant, like, love story for them. Like, immediately, there is sexual tension between these two.
The love story felt so tacked on and contrived the entire time. In fact, the entire time I was making obscene hand gestures every time they'd have a little scene and they'd make sex eyes at each other. Seriously, it was okay. It was like an Archer when every time there's like tension between Archer and Lana, and usually somebody goes, "Oh my God, have sex already!" I kind of wanted to yell that at the screen because there are so many times where he just wants to put his mushroom tip balls deep.
I
You know what I mean?
got
No
that too, but the thing
walls.
is, I kind of feel like nothing that if the fact that Interpol was a female and the FBI was a male, I don't think anything they did would have not made me immediately think there's going to be a love interest here. Because I feel like that's just what movies have ingrained so much that, like...
I mean, sure, yeah, when you see two people meet, but
I
this
don't-
movie literally has them do, like, these long scenes about, bringing up their
I mean,
past
It
and
was
stuff
like
like
1
that.
minute of their opening scene. Even Woody Harrelson, because he does the mental tricks, he can read people's minds. He's like,
he mentioned...
"Oh,
The
there's so much
mentalist.
sexual tension. You guys are gonna do it later." Like he flat out tells. It's pretty much like he's telling the audience, like, "Hey, audience, keep an eye on these two lovebirds, huh? Huh?"
It's because he's the smartest guy in the room at the time.
You know, I'm surprised they didn't have a Chris Angel person in this.
I think Jesse Eisenberg was supposed to be a little Chris. Because you notice how douchey his hair looked.
Yeah,
Like,
I guess.
he was like.
But he
Which
wasn't
one,
like a
Jesse
true.
He was like a nerdy Chris Angel.
That's the
Control dude?
shaggy hair. Yeah,
Okay.
who had a
Yeah, he
previous
was-
relationship.
He was
with
very
Isla
obviously...
Fisher's
Yeah, he was
character.
definitely Chris Angel. He was very obviously a Chris Angel.
Oh, I just
character.
meant like just gothy and
Yeah, he wasn't. He was more like Professor meets Chris Angel, especially with his like sweater with like the knee patches, or not knee patches, the elbow patches. Yeah, knee patches in your sweater.
this has a very big cast. It also has Morgan Freeman, who
Morgan Freeman.
is a guy that he is famous for debunking
Gone down.
magicians and making money that way.
On the box.
It's to the point where they actually show part of his show, and he's narrating. It's
Yeah.
like you knew someone's like, we have to have that guy
It's an
narrate.
excuse for Morgan Freeman to narrate something.
You know, I bet they like first called him like, "Can you just like narrate for this?" And he's like, "No, I want to be in the movie."
No, I want to be in the
It's all
movie.
up to
Because
money.
he's the only black guy I've ever seen have so many freckles on his face.
I have freckles when I was in prison.
I think if you count all of his freckles, you can
Shawshank.
find out his age.
It's like a tree.
He's like a tree with rings.
He planted those 20 years ago, man. He's always a step ahead of you. You wait till the next movie, I'm telling you.
Oh my god.
Those are where his superpowers are hidden.
I do like how this
step
movie's
ahead
like,
of you.
oh man, this is a crazy thriller where we're gonna find them. But you notice that every time the magicians got away, they immediately have a public show. And it's not like, hey, let's stop the show.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're gonna wait and see what happens next.
That's one of the jumps
But you
in
realize
logic.
every single time they have a way, they know they're going to be... Because, I mean, if he even mentions it, they have the FBI kind of in their hand, because for the FBI to take this, they had him in custody. They could have taken him to jail,
well,
but
there's that one
that-
part, but I mean,
that would mean they would have to admit that because they have no evidence. They have nothing that proves that how they stole this money. They're going to have to say, they're going to have to tell a jury that we have magicians that are magically stealing money. We have
I understand that part.
and so
but
that's why
I
they
meant
don't
from the
do-
second to the
Yes.
third one.
The reason they still
No,
have,
from the second to the third one, they were literally chasing after them.
yeah.
But how did all those people meet at the same place?
Because
They had
they
the
posted that
advertisement.
YouTube video and they said, here's where we're going to be. Okay, in a real life scenario, they are, at this point, they're literally the nation's most wanted criminals. They're the most
Yeah.
famous. Everybody knows what they fucking look like. If they really did post that video, the FBI and the NYPD would immediately be like, boom, cordon off that entire area.
Not
Nobody
to
gets
mention
in,
that video
nobody gets out.
disappears. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a simple phone call
Well,
to
if
YouTube.
you notice, FBI is the only one you see it from. So it could have been off the internet. It was just they
Oh.
had access to
just
it.
just watch if like that YouTube video.
That
went
video's
like
still on YouTube right now.
37 views or something like that.
It's still on YouTube right now.
So apparently, Jake, if we want more YouTube video hits, we just need to commit a crime and
But
then
the
put it
thing
on
is,
YouTube.
at that
Magic
last
crime.
one, the last show, you do realize they were never physically there.
No, they were. They were within the building, and then they went upstairs. And they kept like changing to
They
different
use this
spots.
stupid
They were-
hologram.
Yeah, they were never actually on the roof of the building. Those
No.
were holograms.
Oh, actually,
Maybe.
Those
I
were
think
not
you're right.
people. Because if you notice,
because they were covered in smoke at the end, which is that was the recurring theme where how they project, like in the beginning, how
Yeah.
they projected all the plans was because
I mean,
it
if you
was
didn't
dry
notice,
ice.
they had a lot of high-tech light. They were never physically there. They were projecting themselves there, then that was the whole shebang while they were getting away. They mentioned that in the beginning of the movie. You're
Right.
looking too close. That's your problem, man. They sucked you in. You're dumber than them. That's the problem. They outsmarted you. You're looking too close.
Oh,
They're
So,
distracting
so
you.
are you telling me that they are actually making a huge illusion to?
You checked your
show
pocket
that-
to see if you still have a wallet? Because they probably stole your wallet while you were in the movie. They were probably there. Cause, like,
Where's my wallet? Oh, there it is.
I got my wallet on me still.
yeah, so you both check, because now you're questioning everything you ever
So
thought.
are you telling me that this was a huge illusion because this was just a bad movie that they're
They-
just
they-
gonna oh check out these card tricks because clearly this is a shitty movie.
Yeah. Also, okay. What I liked about for example, an actual good movie about magic, The Prestige. All of the tricks, at least until a certain point, I don't want to spoil that movie because it's a really good movie. All the tricks to a certain point seemed very plausible, and they showed you how they were done and that they could be done. Whereas in this movie, every chance they got, they're like, "Huh, CGI!" Like when they unveil the teleportation machine, and they're like, "Oh, let me pull out these blankets or whatever," and then there's like these blankets just like flowing around stage, and it's just also
Yeah,
the
but
CGI was really shitty.
the
in that.
It very
CGI was-
was.
but
It
if you
was
think
almost
about it-
overdone.
All
Yeah.
the stuff in there, they showed you how it could have really been done.
Well,
the CGI
except-
wasn't. The CGI just made it easier and cheaper for them to do it that
How
way.
about the
for a
bubble
movie.
scene?
Yeah.
She was on. You want me to believe she wasn't on a suspension rope?
No, but the idea
Yeah, but it
that
was
he just generated these gigantic bubbles. Like,
Yeah,
You ever tried to make a really big bubble? It's
Yeah.
fucking hard. The fuckers pop.
that's
Yeah.
because he's a magician. You're not understanding that he's better than you.
Yeah,
He
he's better at me than
practiced.
Clearly-
making bubbles.
Also, this
He
is another
practiced.
movie where someone who's really talented in one thing turns out to be able to be a good fighter. We
Yeah.
saw this in Fast and Furious,
Oh my god.
which, hey, that's an action
If you
movie.
know-
They're
one-
able to fight. But this one, they show the magician is able to...
Lil Frankie is like fucking Jackie Chan.
If you notice one thing I did like about it, though, it wasn't just that he was a purely better fighter. He had these really complex, thought-out moves.
he had overly elaborate.
Yeah,
like,
he thought, okay, how many
really
times,
showy.
if you're gonna pull down a cop who you know has handcuffs on him, What you're gonna do is you're gonna pull his suit off, shove it down the garbage disposal, turn it on to get him pulled in. No, you're gonna
Or
handcuff
shoot him, or tase him, or punch him in the face.
He was so elaborate, which is one thing I liked about it, because it made it almost seem like
stupid.
Like he wasn't just this way better fighter. It was
Nobody plans that out. Nobody thinks, I'm gonna take off this guy's jacket, and then I'm gonna pull it behind his back, and then I'm gonna, like, wad the jacket up, and then I'm gonna put it in the garbage disposal, and then I'm gonna turn the garbage disposal on, thus trapping him.
Well,
if you notice that room is kind of almost set up to be. They almost like the mirrors and stuff.
For some reason they left a bunch of their magic tricks in there.
Yeah, it almost seems like it was set up. Like
I'd like to see that moving day.
Do you think they did that to prank each other? Where'd you put the fucking toilet paper? Oh, it's in these drapes. Oh, they're gone.
It's gonna be like a real world reality TV show.
They're just
think about like that moving day. Like it's like, hey, what's in this suitcase? Oh, that's my clothes. What about this one? Oh, that's just all the...
That's the flash paper.
That's the one with the mirror in it, so it looks empty, but it's not.
Now I'm going to make your payment.
I kind of wondered why they had the Legos in there, but then if you notice later, I think it might be a modeling thing, because they were much more elaborate model of
they had actual models. I don't know why they got fucking Legos.
That was
funny. We gotta clean out this theater, you guys. We're like 10 years old.
That was the bigger scale thing, then they got elaborate indoors. One thing I really liked about it, though, is, I guess this is partially because I didn't know how long it was, everything to me seemed like a climax. Like, the whole thing, every trick, every, thing, I was like, are they going to catch him this time? This time. I don't know how long it's been. I don't know if it's been 5 minutes or 5 hours. I have no idea how long the movie is. An hour and 20? 2.5? I have no idea. The whole thing seemed like a climax.
Well, according to Wikipedia, it is
probably
an hour and 55 minutes.
Yeah,
so that movie was actually kind of long.
It felt long.
I thought it was going to be a little longer.
I was ready for it to be over.
Yeah, I did think it was going to be a little longer.
It felt full. It felt done. I didn't feel like there was any, huge gap where
it did not feel done, because even though it was really fucking long, it led up... Okay, I'm just going to say. So there's this magic organization, right? Called the...
Oh, hold on. Okay, we're going to spoil this right here. If you really want to see this movie, which you've been tricked
No, you don't.
Okay,
hold on. When I snap...
My rating is you need to see it, though, before you listen to it.
When I say quarterback, you're going to tackle your computer.
Now, when I snap my fingers, you're going to not comment that this is spoilers, even though no one has...
spoiler, because I'm not going to say... Anyways, okay, so there's a magic organization known as the Eye of Horus. You find out, halfway through the movie, French chick from Inglourious Bastards. It's weird I can still remember her name. It's Mademoiselle Mimir. So Mademoiselle Mimir is, she's got the biggest boner for magic. And Mark Ruffalo the entire time. She wants him to Hulk out on her and just show her the American way of love. So anyways, Mademoiselle Mimir, after outrunning the Nazis and surviving being shot, burned, and blown up in Inglourious Bastards.
She aged very well, by the way.
She aged very well. Still got that mole, though. Still disgusting. She is, reading up all this magic, on all these magic shit.
Because she was taking her job seriously, though.
Yeah, okay. She took her job seriously by finding an old leather-bound tome on a group called the Eye of Horus,
What library?
She did not
Library of Magic?
She got that from the fucking...
Wait, where's this Library
That was
of Magic
the warehouse
thing?
at Area 51, right next to the Ark of the Covenant, okay?
Right next to the Library of Congress?
Yeah, okay. She got it from the Library of Congress. And it turns out that this organization, according to this book, is the world's only, last group or whatever, the protector of real magic. Pretty much, they're wizards, and they use real magic, and blah, 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 blah. And I forgot where I was going with this, but oh yeah, right, there's no payoff at the end. So, okay, never mind, this is going to be a huge spoiler.
There is a payoff, they joined the organization.
Spoiler.
You just spoiled it.
Spoiler,
we said spoiler 7 times.
Spoiler. The reason why they're doing all the shit they're doing is to join the Eye of Horus. It's literally, and it's funny because Mark Ruffalo mentioned joining a frat.
What's funny is they didn't actually reveal that. They actually showed the policeman, the French lady, saying that, I think this is what they want to join. Then later...
Then they say...
all they have is those characters confirm that.
Yeah. Which I thought... It was kind of a shitty reveal.
That was definitely
it's kind of aside oh, you know how we've been robbing all these people? Yeah, it's for the Eye of Horus, whatever. And they're like, oh, a magic trick! Again.
I'll just point out, something that I really did not like about this movie is that it seemed like there were only really 4 characters they tried to flesh out. The French woman, Mark Ruffalo's character, Michael Caine, and Morgan Freeman.
Michael Caine.
The 4 magicians that they've been advertising being in this,
They were pretty flat.
They're very flat because other than seeing them perform, you don't really see very
Part of
small
being a
parts.
magician.
They were all.
You guys don't understand what it's like to be a magician. That's why you're not getting it.
They were fucking.
It's part of
they
being
were
a magician.
fucking-
People.
Each of those characters was a cliche.
Yeah.
There was the street urchin, the street smart guy. That was Lil
The
Frankie.
pickpocket.
Yeah, the pickpocket.
Well, they couldn't flush him out because he took a break for part of the movie.
Also,
His
his death, which he didn't actually die.
Okay, I was
fucking
trying not to say
convoluted.
that.
That was we already spoiled
We
this.
told you the end of the movie.
Just
already.
remember, I'm gonna snap my fingers and they'll forget that we spoiled the whole time.
Okay,
I know
yeah.
you gotta say bullshit, and we'll start playing the violin.
You got
That'll be fiddle farting.
fart.
though.
he was gone for a large portion of the movie, and if you notice, the mind reader was trying to kind of, especially the shaggy haired dude, trying to like tell you stuff about his life, and like the relationship between him and that redheaded woman.
That was still a
But-
cliche.
Yeah, but the thing is,
She's
like,
the jilted lover. He's the control freak, and he didn't want her anymore. And now the love's unrequited. And oh, boo-hoo! Woody Harrelson is the know-it-all, slick son of a bitch. And
Well,
like I
that's
said,
slick.
Little Frankie is the street smart little, the little rascal.
that's why he's so good at fighting, because
Yeah.
he's from the streets.
Because he's a fucking cliche character.
He's from the streets.
All right, how about we go around and give our ratings? Go ahead, Ryan.
Forget it.
That's a terrible rating.
Yeah, because it's a terrible movie.
You're friggin' high. You don't know what you're talking
I'm
about.
high.
You came 10 minutes late. Your opinion doesn't even matter.
All right, Jake, what's yours?
You need to see it.
So the top rating. Where's
Yeah, it's
Okay.
completely different. It's not a sequel. It's not a like a remake or anything. It's something completely different that has no backing from another movie. It continuously felt like a climax the whole time. I didn't see anything about it. It may not have been the best filmmaking in the world, but I didn't see anything about it that was like, boy, this is just the worst camera work I've ever seen in my life or anything like that. I see no reason. It's a fun movie. I feel like people would get intense fun out of it, but keep in mind, you're going to see a movie about magic.
Would you say that people are continuously climaxing throughout the entire movie? You keep saying that. I'm sorry. It just
Yeah.
sounds oddly
it's
sexual.
climax the whole time. It's just
The whole movie is
Ah!
something's
Oh,
going
yeah.
on the entire time.
I think Mark Ruffalo and the
Don't
French
come yet.
chick are going to do
Don't
it.
come yet.
Something is
Gotta
going
think
on
about something bad.
Can't
the
touch it.
whole time.
Gotta think about baseball.
Something's always going on.
All right, my rating is don't see it.
God, both of you are wrong.
Granted, Jake is right that this movie is technically original. It's not based on a book.
Is
it's
it
not
really
based
original,
on
though?
Yes,
on
it's
here.
an original
It's
idea.
it's not based on any previous property, but ironically, you're going to see a movie that has all the trappings and all the cliches that are in most Hollywood fast food movies.
Yeah, it was...
Every
the
single movie
entire
ever
movie-
made has a cliche in it, and so
But the
you
problem
can't
with
base
Jake
a movie
is
and say
not.
it's bad that because it has a
You
cliche.
can still use cliches, but when the movie has
Yeah.
nothing but cliches, then you got a problem.
Yes.
I don't see what the problem was. I don't see the problem with having those two be a love interest. Like, I understand it is
No.
a fact that
It
did
wasn't
happen.
just that.
Why is that a problem? Why is the fact that these characters
Because it
weren't-
felt forced. There was no logical reason why these two characters should fall in love. Something like that should not
Magic.
feel...
He was a magician. He was playing tricks with her mind. He was the
So your
leader.
reasoning that
of-
the reason why they should fall in love is because he's a magician.
He was the leader of the
They should
eye.
fall in love
man.
because he's a magician. Clearly.
The
Jake,
leader
Jake,
of the
He should be
eye.
drowning
Jake,
in pussy. He's a magician.
Jake, were you falling in love with Mark Ruffalo?
I don't know which one
It
Mark
sounds
Ruffalo is.
like-
Did you really love his not shaving the whole time?
He's an FBI agent. He should be clean shaven.
Did you like?
Another
Okay,
thing is-
no, they showed that was kind of a bit of a trope where they showed the FBI agent that
He's the,
has to
he's
look
the
hard.
grizzled FBI
He's a
agent.
little
Grizzled
rogue. Like, you can tell, like, nobody likes him at the office.
He was like the Dirty Harry, except
But,
like,
like,
a
one
pussy.
thing, I didn't like that he was the dude in the sweatshirt. In the beginning, yeah, you don't know what I'm talking about. You weren't even there.
Yeah, he saw the reveal at the
I
end.
saw the reveal. He's
But
the
okay,
guy
you
wearing the hooded sweatshirt the entire time.
He was in the beginning with, like, when he was, like, spying on these people, the guy in the hooded sweatshirt. I wanted it to be, like, a 15 to 18-year-old kid that was, like, really pale, dark hair, dark eyes. Like, I want him to look like a vampire, almost. Because I wanted him to look like a wizard. Like, he could potentially be something from another world.
What?
Hey,
First
Jake,
of all,
Jake.
wizards have long beards.
No,
Like
that's an
Merlin.
old wizard. I'm talking like a guy that could potentially be from another world. Like an underworld. Like, part of, like, I assume he's a demon. I assume they're dark magic.
Okay.
I assume this is not good magic. I
Jake,
assume
you've
it's-
gone from giving poor reasons to like this movie to making no fucking sense whatsoever.
I just
like, you
that's not
just jumped into the deep end like at first.
Hold on,
It's
Jake,
not a-
Jake. Alright, you can come back to normal
No,
and
I'll
tell me what your real opinion is of
Bullshit.
this movie.
No, I wish he wasn't. I just wish he wasn't the guy in the hood.
So your complaint.
I will say one thing though. I'm really glad that the magicians won because I felt the whole at the beginning.
There was no conflict.
There was no conflict.
What do you mean? Whether or not they'd go to jail or not,
Who-
whether
who-
they'd get caught or not.
I have one question. Who are the bad guys in this movie?
the magicians.
Except that they got away. So the
Yeah.
bad guys won.
Yeah.
You like that the bad guys won?
Yeah, I'm glad
Okay.
because I was in the beginning of the movie. I'm like, I felt like they were going to get away, but then in the middle, I'm like, the whole time they're playing it as they're more growing them as bad guys, and I'm afraid they're going to lose just because they're bad guys.
I was just gonna hope this ended like The Departed, where everyone just gets shot. That'd be really great.
no,
And
because
then-
they're setting it up for a
that would've been
sequel.
sad.
And then
why.
just Michael Caine walks away.
And then
They're setting
Isla
it up for
Fisher,
a
because her cleavage
sequel.
keeps getting lower and lower.
Yeah, okay.
She
Not
could just be topless by the
not
end.
to mention, like, I also noticed her boobs were getting pushed like closer
Yeah, she
together.
kept wearing like tighter push-up bras.
And they're always like, always like, oh, I gotta look for the
oh no,
lock here.
we've dropped.
Stare at my cleavage.
I need to
Quit
bend
paying
down.
attention to the tropes of this movie.
I have to get this deck of cards out.
You know, one thing I will say in the beginning, why the three other magicians?
She's still very
were in-
hot though.
Three other magicians in front of the door. None of them picked the lock except that street smart kid.
because he's the stereotype.
I know, but like the three magicians, none of them thought to pick a lock. I feel like that. Honestly, I don't even think he should have picked the lock. I think he should have just been like,
None of the character motivations.
boom, and just like worked.
Most of the character I'm gonna actually say, yes, all of the character motivations. None of them made sense.
Second of all, there was no
Well,
deadbolt
for
on that door. If you wanted in, you could have kicked it in.
I like how you're still talking about the lock, and I'm talking about character motivations.
No, the door. I'm saying the door to get into the secret
Hey, he
world.
just looks at a movie
So,
very differently.
Let me get this straight. Your two qualms with this movie are nobody tried to kick in the door, and the guy in the hooded sweatshirt was not like some like gross, greasy little gothic teenager.
that he wasn't a demon. He was too much.
Gothic teenager.
He was too normal. I wanted him to be more demonized, and because I assume this is dark magic they're dealing with. And my problem is three magicians, one of whom I would like to point out can theoretically read minds. He did not
Couldn't,
think.
though. None of them could do real magic. The Eye of Horus was the real magic.
Yeah, but okay, these
Except
guys
all
are,
that was a fucking
these guys are
glowing
so
light.
elaborate. They're so. This guy's
It was a
so
Ferris
quick.
wheel.
The slide of his hands is so quick. He's so, and none of them could find a way to open the door. Not a single one. You don't realize, like, regular people lockpick. Like, you can go to a Home Depot and buy a lockpicking kit, and you could pick any lock you want to within reason. That was a New York apartment
I'm gonna interject
in a
here.
bad part of town. That lock was. Why was it even locked?
Have
I'm
you ever-
surprised it was even locked.
Have you ever actually tried lockpicking?
Have you ever tried? You push. Okay,
It's really fucking hard. Come back to me.
You're-
Come back to me.
No,
And you actually
it's not
do
that hard.
lockpicking.
It's not that hard.
Okay,
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 sure.
Jake,
It's not that hard, man.
Jake,
It's not that hard.
you're gonna forget everything about this movie other than
No.
it
It's good.
sucks.
It's a good movie.
This movie was shitty.
It's a quality movie. It's
Fucking
different.
terrible.
It's different. It's different. You got to know it. And if you come in and not expecting a movie about magic and not understanding
How would you not
magic-
expect a movie about magic? It's called Now You See
Well,
Me.
it seems to me like neither one of you understood that magic took place. Is what I'm saying here. Both of you, like, I would like to
Except
see.
they sh-
Why don't
except-
we go see Harry Potter? Because I'd like to see how you guys react to that. The fact that these guys are supposed wizards and have this talking owl and they ride around on broomsticks and
Jake,
play
Jake,
Quidditch.
Jake, did you miss every part where Morgan Freeman shows how they did every trick?
Exactly, and you guys didn't seem to catch that either. You gotta. It's all about the slide of the
I
hand.
did, but there were still jumps in logic. is
Jumps.
I'm
What were the
saying.
jumps in logic? You haven't pointed out any jump. Where were the jumps in logic?
CG?
CG. Okay,
The
because it's
fact
a
that
movie.
the FBI doesn't cordon off an entire area of wanted criminals.
They were a step behind the criminals. That's why you
The
didn't
fact
listen to the shaggy
The Eye of
hair.
Horus is in possession of really, really advanced holographic technology the entire
So,
time.
people
You know,
have
they
that
gave
bill.
away all their money, but then they had all this technology to use.
Yeah, they
It's
they
interesting.
bought the technology before they gave the money away. Plus, if you're giving money away on the roof
How
of
do you
a
buy
hotel,
something and then give the money away?
I mean, like not all of it. They buy. You know, you make.
You
a
didn't know,
budget.
but the Eyes of Horus, you
They
get
also
you
said
get a
at the
credit
end they
card.
didn't
It's an
want
American
Buffalo.
Express.
And so, but the thing
That's
is,
how I do my
If you
magic.
think about it, wouldn't you be willing to like do all this elaborate work in your show if they're giving the money away? Wouldn't you be willing to like let them be there?
I'm not a magician.
No, I'm saying like if you're the theater, wouldn't you like still pay them if all of these people are coming in
No,
So they're
because
getting money from
no,
the
no. Hold on,
shows.
hold on. Did you notice every time they ran away?
But okay, they got paid up front.
That
You
never
know-
happens.
Yeah,
No one gets paid up front.
Okay, they're
paid at the end of the
magicians. Again, you guys keep overlooking the fact that these guys are magicians.
I like how your
They're-
reasoning behind this entire
They-
movie is nope, they're magicians.
They are smarter than other people.
We gotta end this podcast.
Stop.
They're smarter than other people.
So, according to Jake, magicians can do all.
They're smarter than other people. They
Your argument isn't
outsmart-
valid. Magic.
They outsmart other people.
Jake, shut up.
You ever talk? You ever convince like a kid that something was
Jake,
cool that
Jake,
Jake, we're
wasn't?
going
Jake,
on half an hour
Jake,
now.
Yeah.
Jake.
You ever convince a kid?
Jake the
that-
fruitcake.
You ever convince
Jake
a kid?
Jake the fruitcake
That-
left on the counter too long, now he's got the tail.
The kid. Okay, you ever talk to a child and convince them something was cool that wasn't?
Jake, you know
Because
you're
you're smarter than him.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening.
That's
This
the
is
same way.
It's
the
not like you're just
magicians
tired.
Work.
Enjoy. Don't
Magicians
watch
are
this movie.
smart.
Ryan.